In the indigo depths of the coral kingdom, where sunlight fractured into dancing coins of gold, lived a young mermaid named Lyra. Unlike her sisters, who adorned their hair with pearls and practiced their siren songs to lure sailors, Lyra was a collector of quiet things. Her grotto was not filled with treasure from shipwrecks, but with smooth grey stones, shells that spiraled into infinity, and the fragile bleached bones of long-departed sea creatures. She was fascinated by the world above, the dry world, a place of brilliant, painful light and strange, limb-heavy beings. Her grandmother, the oldest merfolk in the realm, would warn her, "The surface is a place of forgetting, child. Their air steals the memory of the sea. Do not listen for their voices, listen for their silences. In their silence, you hear the truth." One evening, a storm raged above. Lyra, safe in the calm deep, watched as dark shapes, ships, battled the furious waves. One, a small vessel with a single sail, was torn apart. It groaned, cracked, and was swallowed by the hungry sea. As the storm calmed to a murmur, Lyra's curiosity overpowered caution. She swam towards the wreckage. It was a sad, quiet scene. Among the splintered wood and torn canvas, she found her treasures: a copper compass that no longer knew north, a leather-bound book whose pages had become a home for tiny shrimp, and a single polished oak plank. But then, a sound, not the creaking of wood or the sigh of bubbles, but a rhythm, a desperate, weak thumping. Following the sound, she found him. A young man tangled in a rope, his air fading. His eyes were closed, his skin pale. This was no monster from the stories. This was a creature fighting to not become silent. Remembering her grandmother's words about silences, she knew she could not let his become permanent. With a sharp-edged shell, she sawed through the rope. He was heavy, impossibly so, as she dragged him upwards, fighting the weight of the water and him. She broke the surface under a moon newly revealed by scattered clouds. The air was cold and sharp in her gills. With the last of her strength, she pushed him onto a piece of wreckage towards a distant rocky shore. Before she dove back into the comforting embrace of the deep, she saw his chest rise. He coughed, a raw, beautiful, alive sound. His eyes fluttered open. For a single, heart-stopping moment, their gazes met. He saw not a monster, but a girl with eyes like the deep ocean and hair like drifting seaweed, before she vanished beneath a ripple. Lyra returned to her grotto, but she was changed. The memory of his eyes, the sound of his cough, the life of him, would not leave her. She began to venture closer to the shore, hiding in the kelp forests, watching the small fishing village he was from. She learned his name was Elias. He was a carpenter, not a warrior. He mended nets and built doors and had a laugh that carried over the water. And he was haunted. He would sit on the dock at dusk, staring into the waves, a single smooth grey stone, her stone, one she must have dropped that night, turning over and over in his hand. He was listening for a song he couldn't remember. Lyra's heart ached. This was the silence her grandmother spoke of. His memory of her was a ghost, a feeling without a face. She wanted to sing to him, to show him she was real. But merfolk law was absolute. Reveal yourself, and you risk everything. One day, a different silence fell, a predatory silence. A wealthy lord from a distant city arrived, hunting not for fish, but for proof. He had heard the village tales of a sea angel that had saved Elias. He wanted to capture a myth. His men lowered strong nets into the water, not to catch fish, but to trap a mermaid. Elias watched from the shore, his face dark with anger. "You will not desecrate these waters with your greed," he shouted, but the lord ignored him. Lyra, foolishly drawn by the sight of Elias, swam too close. The nets entangled her tail, pulling her towards the surface, towards the air that would forget her. She thrashed in panic, her song becoming a cry of despair. It was Elias who heard it. It was the cry from his dreams. Without a second thought, he dove into the water. He swam to the net, and with a knife he used for rope he began to cut. He saw her then, not as a ghost, but truly. Her terrified eyes, her silver scales, her webbed hands clutching at the ropes. He didn't see a monster or an angel. He saw the life he owed. He freed her. Their eyes met again, understanding passing between them, a gratitude deeper than words, a farewell that needed no sound. As the Lord's men hauled the empty net aboard, confused, Lyra slipped back into the deep blue. She returned to the quiet of her grotto. But now, among her stones and shells, she kept a new treasure, the memory of a choice. He had chosen to protect her silence, her world. And on certain quiet evenings, when Elias sits on the dock, he doesn't just stare at the water. He smiles. For sometimes, on the very edge of hearing, carried by the waves that lap against the shore, he hears it, a song not of lure, but of gratitude, a melody woven from the deep peace of the ocean, a secret just for him. And he knows, in his heart, that some silences are not empty, they are full, the end. Thank you for watching, and please don't forget to like, share and subscribe.